Hello everyone and welcome. Yes, my name is Arrowfire. Welcome back to another episode of Look Out and Shout. I might as well stop calling them Look Out and Shout because it's kind of all I'm doing these days. Today we are reviewing X-Transbots MX, where are we now? LXI Interceptor Ballistic. You said Ballistic. Their version of a G1 Misfire. Really pleased this has come out. I've been crying out for Masterpiece Target Masters for years now, and I'm not talking so much of the Cyclonuses or the Scourges or some of the Make Toys versions that have been out there. We are now getting the Seekers with Slugslinger in the works, hopefully not too far away, and with any luck Trigger Happy to follow. The box itself is nice. You've got lovely artwork on the front of Misfire holding Aimless charging into battle. On the back you have the usual tech specs with what is now the same artwork as they always do. So yep, I suppose there's that. And what's his motto this time? If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. I'm starting to think that they're just making these up and it's got nothing to do with that. I cannot think for 1 second that Misfire is going to come up with that himself. Inside the box comes the figure itself along with its Target Master and faceplate accessory, although mine is missing that accessory. That is quite annoying. No instructions, but a collector's card with tech specs on the back of it, as you often get. Now, of course, no instructions will mean that you'll have to go onto X-Transbots website or their YouTube page to find an instructional video. However, I will recommend for this video I followed Bobby Skullface's review, who did a very good transformation of it, and I would check that one out if I were you. And of course you too can pick up your own copy of this figure from showzstore.com, where if you will be so kind, the next time you use a purchase there or you use the website to make a purchase, if you please use at the top of the homepage under support your favourite reviewer code, the code of FIRE1, FYRE1. Any points that are generated and added to your account are also shared to my own, which in turn leads to reviews such as this. Thank you very much to everybody for their ongoing support. Okay, let's fire into it, shall we? And here he is in his robot mode, holding his Target Master, which has been transformed. It really has got a lovely feel to it straight away. The die cast is there. That pink, that hot pink, is really doing a lot of the work. It's a very attractive colour scheme. The head sculpt is nice, the colour of the Target Master is nice, the amount of chrome on the Target Master is nice as well. You have to do a little bit of transforming for getting it into its complete robot mode out of the box. But yeah, it really cuts a nice figure, very clean, very slender. Again, it's just really nice to have these new Seekers, the Target Masters that are coming out. I've been crying out for a Masterpiece Trigger Happy, which we haven't seen yet, but we know Slugslinger's in the work, we know this has been in the works. So Trigger Happy will not be far behind, and it's going to be so cool that finally someone is doing these. It looks really good, got some really nice aesthetic to it, and looking at some of the promotional images before it came out, some of its articulation, I was very eager to get my hands on it. Let's get in for a closer look. Right, now I'm going to focus on the Target Master because, as other people have said, this doesn't peg in. That's just more or less sitting. But I have another issue with it as well. If I get the arm to fully extend out, as if he wants to shoot, it droops because there's a fair bit of metallic weight there, and if you get it hinged in right it will hold, but it's very loose. You almost have to kind of do something like that, which looks a bit weird. But yeah, if you just want him to hold it out, you will get drooping, and if he holds it straight forward, the tolerance is just not strong enough on the shoulders. That's quite a shame, coupled with the fact that it, as I say, it just literally is kind of being grasped. There is a slit or a groove on his hand, on the palm of his hand, but there's no peg to speak of on the bottom of the gun. And it's a real shame because it's a lovely gun. As I say, the die cast is here doing a really good job. It looks very compact. There is another way he can hold it though, which you do a bit of transformation and fold it in to get the interior of the peg hand, and he plugs it on to the end himself. So he's very much like the Headmaster cartoon, and I don't like it, but I like the way it's more secure. I never liked that look. I think it looks a very unsightly look to lose a hand for a blaster, but hey, it works for Shockwave, so why shouldn't it work for Misfire? I like that they did it. I like that it's an option. All it was an extra peg on a gun. It's simple but effective, and yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Maybe how we'll hold it just for security. And we'll even do a transformation on one of my videos. Can you believe it? But it's an easy one to do, he says. So fold back the legs that clip into the arms, get an ab crunch back, because yes, there is an ab crunch, and fold the guns over to the top. It's got such a lovely feel to it, this Target Master, which is aimless, if I remember rightly. Good articulation to it, stiff on the arms and pretty good on the legs. The hips move rather than the legs themselves. Out to the side, I do worry about some tension, so don't go over bending. Full 90-degree bend and a bit of a toe tilt, but again it's quite stiff. Yeah, very cool, lovely face sculpt as well. He's got really cool expression on the go, nice paint use, and again just feels quite premium, which is not always a word I associate with X-Transbots. And just so you can see what else we're dealing with, here he is alongside Fracas that came with Inquisitor, the Scourge, and Haywire, who came alongside Fans Toys Blur. So we've got Fans Toys and X-Transbots, differing heights, and it does look a little bit jarring in some ways, but it is cool to get more target masters and separate headmasters. We got at least 2 or 3, probably 4 even, companies having a go at them now in one form or another, including Takara and third party as well. Yeah, it's nice. You got a nice little collection on the go, and who'd have thought we could even start collecting Nebulons. Now I would show you his other accessories that he comes with. The only other accessory he's meant to come with is an alternative face, and annoyingly mine was missing from the box. Sorry about that, I haven't got anything else to show you, which means for me it only comes with the collector's card instructions. Well, it doesn't even come with instructions anymore, thanks X-Transbots. He comes with his target master, and yeah, he's supposed to come with more of a grimacing face. I'll put a photo up if I can find one. Bit of an annoyance. I've contacted ShowZ and they will hopefully send me one in due course, but the one he's got on is just an ever so slightly happy-go-lucky kind of face, as much as a Decepticon can be, and it works for him. I don't need him being aggressive. I don't think it would suit his kind of persona he has nowadays, which is a little bit fun-loving for a Decepticon, isn't it? When you think of IDW in particular with the Scavengers. Best use of the character, so I'm quite happy with the one he's got. So with that being said, let's go straight into articulation. We got head movement and up, very nice, like that for the looking up or even mid-flight shots. Can look down somewhat, actually not too bad. Can look all the way around. A little bit looser on the head neck joint, but not terrible. Shoulder articulation is pretty good, particularly when you get a butterfly joint. Now that could easily just be lending into the transformation, but allows for a bit more flexibility and good for photography. Bicep rotation, double bend at the elbow, very nice, always like that. Wrist rotation, and I will show you this, cocking of the wrist as well, so he can serve you your favourite drinks. I like it, it's quite expressionate, and I like to think it makes the transformation a tad easier, but the fingers, the hands, they are not great. This thumb, I'm not wild about that connector, and so to make a fist it more or less just sits in the palm of his hand like so. He's got a trigger finger that moves and then 3 fingers that are all fused together, but I don't like how the knuckles wrap around. He can make a fist, but they're quite stiff and it makes a bit of an unsightly connection. Do you see what I mean? It's very flat rather than a curved fist. It's minor, but I don't love it, and considering it doesn't hold the gun, it kind of rubbishes the trigger finger element, so that's not fabulous. Ab crunch, very nice, allows for real good expressionism. It was the articulation that was getting my attention looking at the product shots, so that is very, very cool. Really like that. On a ratchet no less. Waist rotation, he'll start to bump into his back panels, which is annoying. Yeah, you can move some bits out of the way, but it is there. There is something to do. It doesn't feel ratcheted, feels more friction, but that's okay. It's quite a soft ratchet and not a tight one. Oh dear. That feels way too loose. So that says to me that all the weight is in the body pieces and not in the ratchets. That's a bit of a shame. I don't know if you can see it. It doesn't look greatly moulded to the body. I feel like I'm picking holes already, and I was very much looking forward to this. The back hip skirt doesn't want to move. Outside actually holds better weight, better tension. So that's interesting. Not a ratchet, friction on the side. Does start to bump into himself. Oh, that is a bit annoying on the front bit. Right. Oh yes, I did hear about this. Look at that for knee articulation, and you've got kind of some parts coming out of the way like interior gubbins. That's really cool. Do like that. It's got a good feel to it, the knee ratchet as well. Nice singing ratchet. Now, this has been said already, ankle articulation is not great. No toe tilt, and that's all you're getting, which is barely 45 degrees. Yeah, couple of bits of articulation are brilliant. I like the ab crunch. He doesn't feel bad. He doesn't feel not sturdy. But where you've got an ab crunch, a bit of waist rotation, butterfly joints, that's all well and good. But then if you haven't got the tension in the ratchets to hold out a leg pose forward, and it kind of cheapens it. There's your basics that you have to hit, I think, in Masterpiece. And this hits some, but not others. Okay, on to some comparisons. Here he is alongside one of the other Target Masters from the Rebirth era, Fans Toys Coot, their version of Cup with Target Master accessories. That possibly works. I'm not totally surprised that Misfire is bigger. I do wonder if this Cup is a little small, but yeah, they look, certainly from the Rebirth, you can believe it. I wonder if that scale's right. Maybe Cup should be a little bit closer to his shoulders. But again, I'm not surprised for the jet mode he turns into that Misfire is the size he is. And this is cool, alongside Mate Toys Contact Shot. So we got an Autobot Target Master, Decepticon Target Master now from different companies. Well, they're all different companies in one form or another. But Mate Toys really kind of dropped the ball. They're supposed to be working on highbrow, but whenever we see that, I don't know. Really cool getting these together. Two very kind of different independent characters rather than Cyclonus, Scourge, Cup, Blur, not Blaster, to get independent Target Masters, if you know what I mean. So that's quite cool. Getting these characters in Masterpiece that really has been underrepresented in the Headmaster Target Master scale. We'll rattle through these. Mate Toys Iron Will, their version of Hardhead. So I'm surprised he can stand up. Mate Toys Capoda, their version of Chrome Dome. Fans Toys Lupus, their version of Werewolf. That scales really well. Deformation Space Skywarp, one Seeker to another. Fans Toys Inquisitor, their version of Scourge. That's going to be brilliant if we get the other two alongside this guy. And of course himself, in the Chuck line, Titan's Return Misfire. It took me years to track down, and no, I am not going to sell it. Okay, let's get this guy transformed up, shall we? Carefully this time. And there he is in his alt mode. I am very glad I don't do transformations on this channel. It wasn't the worst I've ever done, and there was parts of it that felt very step-by-step intuitive. You could work out what goes next, but I would say it felt fragile and it didn't feel comfortable. Some bits just felt very odd. The transformation steps and what X-Transbots have decided to do to get to A to B just felt weird. Prone to breakages. I've seen people with breakages and I can believe it. There's a couple of bits I'll point out to be very careful over. But saying that, whilst it wasn't fun, and I did have a couple of bits pop off, which I'll show you in a second, I do like how it looks in this mode. That hot pink is coming through nicely, and broadly speaking, everything tabs in where it should. It's a very good looking jet mode, a sizable looking jet mode, bigger in hand than you'd expect. Some parts do look incomplete, and I'll show you that as well, but I'm very pleased to have it as a character, very pleased to have it in this representation. I can't say I hate it, even if it has got a few X-Transbots isms. Let's get in for a closer look. Now I'll show you this right at the start before people sound off in the comments, and how dare I get something wrong. Yes, I can see it's slightly misaligned there. There is this peg, I don't think you'll see it, just in that kind of shadowed groove there. And I thought I did enough to get it over, but maybe I'm just going to have to take the leg off and fold it all the way back. But honestly, just to complete up this back image, it's not something I'm relishing doing too much. I can live with that. The back of this doesn't look very good, and in some ways I feel it's rushed. I don't think rushed is the right word, but just the interesting choices in some of these transformation pieces just strike me as odd. There's a bit of paint chipping getting the peg out there. That's a bit of a shame. Okay, so a couple of bits I do like. This is worth mentioning. This is a side panel of the leg, and when it folds out, it more or less just kind of hangs because the thighs don't fully sit over. They just kind of got this thigh piece that goes around the inner thighs, if you see what I mean. So that peg just acts as a way to latch the legs on top of the thighs and then into the hands as well. It's a small thing, but I thought that was quite clever. This panel of the inside of the shoulder keeps wanting to come out on me, so I'd have to just push it back in and get it right, more or less. This gap as well, I don't like that. I feel that could have just been closed off in some way, a latch, a peg of some kind. I don't mind how these tab in. They're awkward, getting the legs over to fit behind this peg, and for this bit to come out of the underside of the feet. Be very careful with that. Now the bits I really don't like are these very small fins. You see them, the triangular pieces. They're supposed to plug in to... I don't think you'll see it. It's far too small. Do you see a kind of... No, I don't know if you will see it. Up the top there, a very like small little house for the peg to go into. It's supposed to do that and latch it into place. But these kind of very flimsy, small curvature pieces, this was the same on their big load, their long haul, that's it. And they fold out, and it's a lot of pressure you've got to put on some things in some places. It's asking for breakages. I've got this side coming out again as well. So I had to clear that up. I don't know if instruction videos will show it, but you do have to cascade up the arms into the upper shoulder. Now, this is one of the wheels that popped off, but the wheels are indeed a problem because, and as people have said this, so he's got the front landing gear, which is locked in, which is good. It will stay up, but it will flop back a bit, but it will lock into position. The rear ones, on the other hand, as soon as you go back, there's nothing to lock them in place, so it will just fall over. Which kind of means he's forever just sitting down like that, which I don't hate, but it's a rubbish way to use a landing gear. And as such, just to show you, there's one of his wheels that's fallen off. And I think I know why. You won't necessarily see it on the other side, but there's a black screw that's gone through on the wheel and the landing gear, and there isn't a screw on this side, so the screw's fallen out, but I might be able to source a replacement. Also, additionally, I think this is an arm cover. I had a tiny little pink piece fall out from somewhere, I have no idea where. By no means integral, and people have had worse. I do like the weight of it. I like the solid pink. The cockpit opens up nicely. Sadly, the Target Master won't fit inside, but I like it nevertheless. A couple of tabbing in issues, broadly speaking. It's a shame about that chippage. I wonder if that's on this side as well. Tiniest bit, not an awful lot. I'm more inclined to keep them in robot mode. I think that's the best look of it, but I really do like how he looks. It's an attractive looking jet mode. Even if it is futuristic, it is looking cool, and I think broadly speaking they've done a good job. And thankfully his Target Master sits in as well, and that is cool. I do like that. If you're going to display it in this mode, it's very sort of akin to the old toy, the G1 toy, in as much as you've got the big chunky Target Master that definitely looks more than a traditional blaster gun. It very much looks like it's stuck on top as a separate add-on piece, and I like it. I like the silhouette it creates. Overall, I'm not unhappy with it. Just please be careful with some of the transformation steps. Odd X-Transbots choices, and minor things chipped off on mine, but I've heard people with worse, but I don't hate it by any means. I haven't got many things in jet mode, but onto some comparisons. Alongside Fans Toys Jabba in his alt mode, their version of Blur. So two Target Masters, do like that. Quite a good size actually. I think these two work quite well. Actually, I've just seen one of his wings has come untabbed again. But yeah, no, I think that works quite good. It's hard to do a comparison, is it? Because I'm not entirely sure what a Blur's vehicle actually is. But they do look cool together. Two different companies, and they've gotten quite close to each other. I think X-Transbots have done quite a good job with this paint scheme. It certainly doesn't look out of place alongside a Fans Toys paint job. Not really from the Rebirth or even a Target Master of any kind, but alongside another X-Transbot release with their big load. I wish they would have called it something else. Yeah, they look really cool together. These are two very much of the better end bots for X-Transbots, I think. You get a bit of a sense of higher end out of them, and yeah, they do look cool together even if they bear no relation to each other. A typical Masterpiece car bot alongside Takara's Red Alert, you just really get a sense of scale here. I think X-Transbots have got that right. It fits a really good job. Not that I have any of the older G1 Seekers transformed up into alt mode. I am not doing that deformation space transformation if I don't have to. But I think they would look really good side by side if you kind of had eventually all 6 Seekers, not including the Coneheads, flying alongside each other in jet mode. I think that would look really cool. But that's how these look together. And we're going for something a bit different alongside Lemon Tree's Shockwave that turns into the Revenge, and for my mind it is the Revenge. At least they shared a segment in the cartoon. Different scaling, but again, cool to get these together. So what is my view on the most unaerodynamic jet you've ever seen in your life? I like it, broadly speaking, more than I dislike it. When I was looking at the production shots of it, when I was looking at its articulation, when I was looking at its presentation and some early reviews that came out of it, I thought to myself, is this going to be my first 5 stars towards X-Transbots? Spoiler, it's not. There's a few things you may have found out along the way that I have to dock it points for, and it's a shame because I was really looking forward to it. I think some of the articulation in robot mode is very, very good. Some of the best X-Transbots have done possibly ever. I love some of the materials. The die-cast is very prominent here. I feel like I'm getting my money's worth from it in that sense. There is more articulation around the waist movement than I showed. You can move the back panels out of the way, but they're flimsy panels as well, so I was hesitant to do so. There is articulation there, very good articulation. I do like the ab crunch. The colouring, the paint is lovely. I mean, look, it just picks up the light so well. It's this hot, vibrant pink. I just think it looks really, really cool. It's going for a toon aesthetic. There is a toy aesthetic as well, and you could argue it's very plain, pardon the pun, but translucent blue cockpit. You've got some nice engine details on the underside as well. It tabs in well enough, nice grids. So I'm very happy whatever mode I decide to keep this in, although I'll probably go for robot mode. The Target Master is one of the best ones out there, I think. Just in terms of its paint and the fact that there's actual chrome to it is really, really good. However, the downside to that is the tolerances on his shoulders not to be able to hold it outright and causing droopage on something that's not exactly a long blaster rifle. Yeah, that's a miss as well. And this is where I come into the misses of this point. I think it has some odd transformation steps, and I think it's going to promote breakages. I think people are not going to transform it for fear of breaking. And I like to think that X-Transbots were coming out of that phase, certainly with their Constructicons. I felt that they had been taking a bit of time. Now, this is what I said about this. This felt rushed. Well, it wasn't rushed, was it? Because it was in production for a long time. We saw a lot of shots of it. But it felt... what's the term I'm looking for? Not well thought through, not well designed, or designed in some ways. I wonder if some of that brilliant articulation and some of that die-cast housing has come at a sacrifice point. The fact that this transformation has such brittle bits to clip in some of the heavier die-cast section, so the flimsy die-cast or the flimsy plastic has to clip into the die-cast on the side. I've seen better undersides of jets and uses of folding up of legs. I've seen better back of jets before as well. But then a lacking tolerance on the hip doesn't feel fabulous. I don't like the fact that I can't plug in the handgun. The accessories are quite limited. I think, I mean, obviously for me, I'm missing a piece anyway, but one faceplate and one gun. All right, what else was he going to come with? The landing gear isn't fabulous. Price point at £100. Fine, yeah, it's kind of going rate for Masterpiece on an individual figure. And who else is doing the New Age Seekers? We've got their Slugslinger coming out eventually. I think it's only been CAD drawings to this point, although we have seen much more detailed ones. The landing gear not tabbing in, that's a misstep, a misfire, if you will. And it's a shame that his Target Master can't sit in the cockpit. I kind of feel that's a must if you're going to do them, maybe. I don't know. Maybe some alt modes lend to it more than others, like, for example, the likes of Hardhead, who's a bigger, squarer tank than well, I scarcely lose the term aerodynamic because he's not. Based on this, I give this guy, I'll be generous, 4 Rodimus Star badges. I could have given it lower. Maybe I should have given it lower, but its good points are quite strong. What it does quite well. I would have liked more accessories. I would have liked an easier transformation. And I would have liked cleaner aspects of the transformation in parts. But broadly speaking, it looks good in both modes. And hey, there's no other Masterpiece Misfire on the market, so X-Transbots have done a good job there. And there we go, that is my review of X-Transbots Interceptor Ballistic, their version of a G1 Misfire. I'll put some photos up at the end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button because I will see you on the next one.